Everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have a very special guest today. You guys have seen her here before. She is back again with some really exciting news. Jane Velez-Mitchell from Jane UnChained News Network. Jane, how are you?
I am great, Gina. We're just launching UnChained TV, a new vegan streaming television network that is going to hopefully reach pre-vegans. I never say non-vegans, I say pre-vegans because really to save the planet from a climate apocalypse, we really all have to go in the plant-based direction ASAP. UnChained TV, you can download it on your iPhone or Android phone. You can get it on your Roku device, your Apple TV device, your Amazon Fire Stick. UnChained TV, unchain your brain.
That's awesome. Yes, that's why I wanted to have you here today, to make that announcement to everybody who maybe hasn't heard about it yet. Again, it's free for everybody. And I took a look at it. I downloaded it on my devices. I noticed that you have New Day, New Chef on there, which was previously only available on Amazon, Amazon Prime. So people can get that now for free. I saw you've got documentaries on there, vegan events. I saw you have a lot of your Jane UnChained exclusive content. So can you explain to people the benefit of having this streaming service and what that allows them to do versus how you were only on Facebook before?
Well, we're doing an end run around mainstream media, which has a blackout on this information. Why? Just look at the advertisers, meat, dairy, and pharmaceutical companies, the three industries that would collapse if people got healthy and went plant-based. Right. I have a hard time even watching cable news because every single commercial, it seems, except for the occasional insurance commercial, is either about eating bad food or getting sick as a result of it. And so they don't want the solution to be out there because you can't make money off of a disease that never occurred.
Right.
So what happens is you don't see the coverage. Now, we had a correspondent at COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. Her reporting was very different from the mainstream media news reporting. There were many plant-based campaigns that were there. Plant-based treaty, there was Extinction Rebellion, Animal Rebellion. There were all these groups doing all sorts of protests, die-ins, marches. You never saw it on mainstream TV. And I watched all the mainstream coverage as much as I could. You didn't see one sign that said vegan or go plant-based and yet, our correspondent was covering all of that. Not only that, but she went into COP26 and showed the menu, which was a fiasco and an embarrassment. Even the Washington Post did a story. Hello, you put the carbon footprint of every meal and you are proving, because that's what they did. They put the carbon footprint of every single meal they were serving at COP26, which was the big environmental conference, the global summit. And clearly the meat products, the ham and cheese sandwiches were so much higher than the plant-based. So even the Washington Post said, well, you're proving that you shouldn't eat that stuff. So why are you serving it? So it backfired.
If it's as so bad that the Washington Post is talking about it, you know it's bad.
So UnChained TV went in there and actually went into the cafeteria and showed that they were serving pig. They were at a climate conference. Okay. So, that's the kind of coverage you won't get anywhere else. Now, we also have great documentaries that used to be on Netflix. For example, Vegucated, a very fun documentary where a great filmmaker, Marissa Wolfson, takes some diehard meat eaters and puts them through a vegan obstacle course for a couple of weeks. And it's a funny, lighthearted kind of thing. So there's a good documentary. We also have the cooking shows. We also have music videos. Believe it or not, there are vegan country music singers and there are people who write vegan anthems. So there's a lot there. I say, go to UnChained TV, download it. It's completely free. You don't even have to put your email in. It takes a couple of seconds. And then if you like it, please give it a 5-star review on your phone, on your app store, and let's all be the change that we seek. I'll just say one other thing about COP26. You know, Prince Charles, who was there as the environmental icon, was patting himself on the back and bragging about how he doesn't eat meat 2 days a week. Hello, we are barreling toward a climate apocalypse. That's the phrase that comes to mind. Yes, we are. We've already destroyed 2/3 of all wildlife. We are on track to wipe out essentially all wildlife within a decade. I'm talking about no zebras, no pandas, no tigers, no lions. There are more of these big cats in captivity than there are in the wild. And good, ginormous percentage is destroying their habitat to create cattle grazing land and to grow commodity crops to feed the 80 billion animals we kill every year. Okay, we're only 8 billion humans. So the idea that he's patting himself on the back for not eating meat 2 times a week is obscene.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We have to hold these people accountable. We have to say, you cannot call yourself an environmentalist and brag about the fact that you don't eat meat 2 times a week.
Yeah.
Your own COP26 menu showed how much more disastrous for the environment meat and dairy products are than the plant-based products. It's like this. Yeah. It's like over here is the meat and down here is the plant-based. Yeah. Do the math.
Yeah. And can you explain, because I have a lot of viewers who aren't yet plant-based, I'll say yet, because I'm working on them, but can you explain to them the connection between animal production, animal products, and the environment and how it actually affects our climate and why it's so destructive?
Yeah, well, trees absorb carbon, and we are using a huge percentage. People will quibble, is it 2/3, is it a half? A huge percentage of usable land, okay, is used for animal agriculture. We are only 8 billion humans. We could live in a world of natural abundance where everybody has enough to eat. Right now, there are people who are dying of starvation. There are children who are dying of malnutrition as we speak.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to happen. We are 8 billion people. We are raising and killing at least 80 billion land animals every year. Okay. In 12 hours, we kill more animals than all the human beings who have died in all the wars in human history. Now, nature is saying enough. Yeah. And I don't care what your religious background is, but factory farming it's just a ginormous killing machine. Okay. And as Dr. Silas Rao, who is an esteemed engineer and systems analyst, has said, we're all being factory farmed. They need us to get sick. Yeah. His point is that the economy is based on death, disease, and destruction. Death for the animals, disease for humans, destruction for the planet. Yes, the problem is it's not working anymore. Yeah. It's not just hypothetical. It's not just our grandkids anymore. It's 50% of Americans have done more than $5,000 worth of climate mitigation work on their homes. I just put in 2 drains with 2 electric sump pumps because I saw the floods. A friend of mine in Brooklyn sent me a shot of water shooting up from her toilet and her shower. She texted me a video. She said, oh my God, what's happening? Yeah, there were floods in New Jersey. There were floods in Brooklyn. There were floods in Belgium. There were floods in Germany. There were floods in China. It's coming to you.
Yeah. Well, look at what's happening in Texas even.
And the fires. Yeah. The fires are not hypothetical. I have a friend who every single house on his block was burned down and his house is uninhabitable.
Wait, now you're talking about fires not caused by Jewish space lasers?
Oh, I can't even get into it. I don't dignify crazy with acknowledgement. I don't. No. So look, here's the thing. There is a price that is paid when a society gets together and says, okay, this suffering doesn't count. Okay, we can look back in history. I don't need to even mention what the obvious historical references are. Right. Where a group of an entire society got together and basically said, we're going to agree that this suffering doesn't count.
Right.
There's a price to be paid. And those people may be having a good time before that price is paid, but the price is paid.
Yeah.
So those who completely ignore this issue, when it hits the fan, you're not a victim, you're a participant.
Right.
It's blowback.
Yeah.
There is an easy alternative. And here's the thing that I've realized. I'm 26 years sober. I'm a recovering alcoholic, one day at a time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my disease, and luckily I feel like I had a relatively high bottom. I still had the job, the house, the car, the relationship, but I did experience incomprehensible demoralization of saying every night I wasn't going to have a drink. And I went home and had more than one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I hit bottom, and then I had a moment of clarity. However, if somebody had said to me, you can never have a drink again for the rest of your life, even today, every molecule in my body goes, that's why they say one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I say to people watching, the word vegan scares people because it's like okay, you're never going to do this again. No, what I say is plant-based just for today.
Right.
One day at a time. Give it a shot just for today. Then that takes the pressure off. It takes the sense of deprivation off. Now, when I was in my disease, I thought, and this isn't gin, this is water. I thought, oh God, well, my life's over. Okay. I got to get sober, but I'll never enjoy a sunset again, because I used to go out to the beach with a glass of wine. I'll never have fun after skiing again, because I used to have Jägermeister after going down the slope. I'll never karaoke again. I'll never go to a party. Guess what? I actually haven't been skiing since, but that's more due to my knees.
Yeah.
But guess what? I do all those things. I enjoy them more, and I remember them. I still make a fool of myself on a regular basis, but I remember it now. So there's an old cliche. My worst day sober is better than my best day drunk. I promise you, people watching, your best day eating animals is not going to be as good as your worst day plant-based. Why? Because on some level, we know that we are killing. Okay. I covered crime. I was a crime reporter for 40 years. Okay. I covered the worst crimes in our modern era. Unless you're a sociopath, you are haunted by your crime. There is a cliche that the killer revisits the scene of the crime. It's actually sometimes true. I've covered cases where the killer will have to go back to the scene of the crime and look around. They're haunted by it. In the same way, we are haunted by what we're doing. Yeah. We know we are killing. We know that this Frankfurter didn't fall from a Frankfurter tree. Right. So it haunts us on a level that we don't really acknowledge, because society says, again, don't worry about that. Their suffering doesn't count. Those pigs don't count. Those cows don't count. Those chickens don't count, but they do. Now, it's very easy to go plant-based now. Okay. When I first went vegan 25 years ago, I would go into a vegan restaurant and I knew everybody because it was me and the maitre d' who was also the chef and also the waiter. Right. Now I can't get a table. I go to a place and it's like, well, sorry. And the line's out the door, and I'm happy. There's nothing makes me happier than not being able to get a table at a vegan restaurant. I'm like, yes, I've been waiting for this my whole life. But the point is that it's very easy to go plant-based now, and it's delicious, and there's no sacrifice. Impossible Burger, Beyond Meat Burger, Gardein.
So many good options.
It tastes good. And you have to remember is that there's more versatility and variety in vegan cooking. We primarily kill what? 5 or 6 animals: cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, goats, lambs. Okay. There are tens of thousands of vegetables, fruits, nuts, grains, and legumes that can be arrayed in a billion different combinations, an infinite number of combinations. We do a daily vegan cooking show called Lunch Break Live. We don't tell people what to make. We just make whatever you want every day. We go to somebody else turns on their computer and makes something in front of the stove. we barely repeat a recipe ever because everybody does their own thing. So what I'm trying to say is, just like I thought my life was over when I got sober, and now thank God. I mean, every day I say I'm in gratitude that is not something that is a craving that controlled my life and had horrible consequences, because all addiction creates wreckage and it's progressive. So you're seeing the wreckage.
Yeah.
Just your health, people. 1 out of every 4 people, pandemic aside, dies of heart disease. I see it in my neighborhood all the time.
Yep.
People who are my age, and the ambulance comes and takes them away. And I go, where's so-and-so? I haven't seen him in a while. Oh, he died.
Yeah.
This happens to me walking my dog. And it's like these people are dying too young.
Yeah.
And you want to go up to them and shake them and say, here, have a plant-based burger instead of a burger that's filled with cholesterol, that's going to cause plaque, that's going to clog your arteries.
Yep.
Now, people used to laugh in my face, literally. I mean, in newsrooms, when I went vegan 25 years ago, people would literally come.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine back then. Yeah.
But then it's funny how our society is, right? So when Beyond Meat went public, all of a sudden, people who used to ridicule me were coming up to me and going, or texting me, hey, that Beyond Meat. Hey, I tried it. Not bad. It tastes better because it went public. But that's our society. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying to your viewers is be on the right side of history and be on the right side of your health and be on the right side of compassion. And it's a win-win-win. There is zero sacrifice involved. Sure, there's always that 30-day period. The reason why rehab is at least 28 days is that it takes 28 days for anything to restore to factory settings. So your taste buds are going to take 28 days to restore to factory settings. Right. When I went vegan, somebody accidentally put Parmesan cheese on something I was eating about a month later. And I used to love Parmesan cheese. I couldn't stand it. And I tasted it immediately. I was like, that's disgusting, because my taste buds had reverted to their factory settings. We are not cows. We should not be drinking the breast milk of a cow. Period. End of story.
Yeah. And like I pointed out in my book, I think there was a time when humans biologically were meant to eat food, animal protein, but we had a shift many, many millions of years ago that we now literally can't process the food, which is why we have all of these diseases, all of this inflammation internally, all of this turmoil in our lives, depression, even anxiety. I mean, it's all, you can track it all. I talk about all of it in my book. But what I'm referring to is NEU5GC, NEU5GC. It's something that we can no longer process. So for all the people who say, oh, well, we're supposed to eat animals. I mean, if we were supposed to, we wouldn't have the health consequences. It wouldn't be destroying our climate. It wouldn't be, such a horrific thing that you can't allow children to know how their animals are killed that are on their plate. So
all societal evil has to be hidden, and it has to be covered up with false stories. And eventually, though, the truth comes out. And the truth is coming out thanks to incredible undercover investigators who go undercover. It's every single undercover investigation at any animal farm has always come up with abuse and violence. Bottom line, there's no nice way to kill anybody who doesn't want to die. So this idea that free range and this, that, it's all a crock. It's a crock. If you knew what the standards were for free range, and then they pack them in like they're on the subway at rush hour, and that's considered free range, it's morally reprehensible. And there's always a price to be paid for something that's morally reprehensible. And so there's another way. You don't have to have any sacrifice. It's been made so easy. And what's really funny is that the news commentators, remember, you're not going to hear this information. This is why I started UnChained TV and my entire nonprofit. is you're not going to get this information from the mainstream media.
Right.
They are literally funded by the meat, dairy, and pharmaceutical industry. Those are the primary advertisers.
Yeah. It's totally a conflict of interest. They won't cover it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, when Beyond Meat went public and Impossible Burgers also got a lot of prominence and they were being talked about, all of a sudden, people who never cared a whit about processed food, well, these are processed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they take things together and they mash them, right? And make them into, now it's processed.
Yeah.
You ever talked about the fact that processed meat, 1 out of every 4 people eats fast food every day, and it's just processed meat. And processed meat is officially cancer causing, according to the World Health Organization. They've never mentioned that any of this is processed.
Yeah. All those same people who talk about Impossible being processed, they're out having a turkey sandwich at lunch or salami,
belly slices,
and
exactly. But,
hot dogs.
We're breaking through, though. People are plant-based, especially the younger generation. And I believe one of the reasons why is that they're not watching television. They don't watch TV. Yeah. I had a young person staying with me for a month, and I would try to get her to look at something like, look, here's the news. Look what's going on. Refuse. This. So I realized that, it's a little harder to brainwash on the small screen. Those big screen commercials with the steak dripping. These people know how to associate these products with things that they have nothing to do with. Right. Sex appeal, upward mobility, patriotism, family values, keeping up with the Joneses, all this stuff that has nothing to do with masculinity for men, meat, femininity for women, the dairy, when ultimately that is such a horrible lie, because everything is the violation of the sacred feminine. Yeah. All of these animals are raped. Sorry to say it. That's pretty brutal language, but it's true. They're not making love on these factory farms.
No, they're forcefully impregnated.
The women, the industry term is rape rack, where they keep the cows. Yeah. What would Jesus say? Yeah. Jesus, and the most documented thing about the life of Jesus is that he went into the temple. They always say he fought with the money changers, but the money changers had animals set for sacrifice, and he freed those animals. Today, he would be considered a radical animal rights activist. Yeah. Wayne Shung, who the founder of Direct Action Everywhere, was just convicted of 2 felony counts for taking a poor animal who was suffering out of a meat farm. Now, the judge, in his or her wisdom, gave him a suspended sentence because he's not a criminal. No. He was rescuing an abused animal. Yeah. Yeah. I was just saying to my daughter that with all of this movement towards abolishing abortion, they're trying to make women into factory farm animals, basically. Force us to give birth against our will. So, this is why I tell people it's all kind of tied together. You got to get into the law side of it, which brings me to something else I wanted to ask you about that I saw on your site. Because in addition to your videos, you guys put out some incredible content on your website about things going on, whether it be bills that are trying to be passed, or just things like what was happening with Wayne and how he, got convicted for rescuing that poor animal. But I saw something about the EATS Act, which I wanted to tell my viewers about, because it's very deceptively named. And it's really going to increase cruelty, right? From what I was reading, it allows. It's not going to be passed.
What was that?
God willing, it won't be passed.
Right.
Take action.
Yeah. Because it's going to decimate, from what I was reading, decimate a lot of the laws that are already on the books, protecting animals on factory farms from abuse and from, being basically kept just in these horrible confinement pens and areas where they literally can't even turn around. So
California passed Proposition 12, which eliminates pig gestation crates and veal crates. These animals, people think, well, dairy, that's not bad, right? I mean, well, the cow has to be pregnant. A lot of people never think about that.
Yeah.
And then when the animals are born, they have no need in the dairy industry for male calves. Okay. So they either leave them on dead piles, shoot them, or put them in veal crates. The veal crates, it's horrible. No mother wants to be separated from her baby. No baby wants to be separated from her mother. And there's so many videos on YouTube of mother cows fighting as their babies are taken away.
Yeah.
See, if the babies stay with mom, guess what? The babies drink the milk.
Yeah.
In order for humans to steal the breast milk of the cows, you have to remove
cheese,
the baby.
For all dairy products.
And that's why we've made, okay, so to show one example of how our government, which is in cahoots with the meat and dairy industry, because they're the biggest lobbyists. So they give the members of Congress and all these agencies, they infiltrate the agencies. The USDA is run by the former head of the Dairy Council.
Yeah, it's that revolving door I talk about in my book.
Vilsack is a dairy industry leader.
Yeah.
So can we expect him to be objective about this? Of course not.
Yeah.
So essentially, the government promotes meat and dairy, even though it's creating the healthcare crisis.
With our tax dollars too.
Yes. You know how much, let's appeal to people no matter what your political persuasion is. You would be spending so much less on taxes because healthcare is such a huge percentage of what we spend. People would be healthy. They wouldn't be needing these stent operations that are so expensive and these cholesterol drugs. Okay. But the US government keeps the meat and dairy industry going with massive, many multi-billion-dollar subsidies to both the meat industry, but the commodity crops that go into the corn is going in 75 or 80% of the soy produced is going into farmed animals. Yeah. Okay. So,
and genetically modified soy and corn too.
Yeah.
I mean, that just creates every disease pretty much known to man.
Right. So getting back to the EATS Act, California voters passed Prop 12. Remember, California is on its own the 5th largest economy in the world.
Right.
So what happens in California impacts everything. So Prop 12 says you can't have pig gestation crates or veal crates, and we won't even sell stuff that comes from that. So that would just eliminate those. Pig gestation crates are crates that are torture devices. They put a pig who has the emotional developments of a toddler human in a crate the size of their bodies. Dog. They can't turn around. They can't even scratch themselves. They go mad. They chew on the bar till their teeth break.
Yeah.
This is your Frankfurter.
Yeah.
You go to the Dodgers and you look at a Dodger dog.
Baby back ribs.
What you're eating.
Yeah.
That's what you're eating, the suffering and the torture. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it. So the meat and dairy industry freaked out. They've tried to fight Prop 12, which is supposed to go into effect January 2022 in court. They've lost in court so far. So what they came up with was the EATS Act, which they try to promote as ending food injustice or something like that. They're making this convoluted argument that, meat prices will go up if we don't torture these animals. So it's all designed to basically invalidate Prop 12. Yeah. Invalidate the will of the people. And we urge everyone, you can go to UnChained.com and just put in search EATS Act.
I'll leave a link down in the description box below this video so everybody can take a look at it and they can sign the petition against it.
Yes, sign the petition against it. There are ways to email your members of Congress very quickly because the truth is that they hope to slide it through Congress. Yeah. And looking at the articles and researching in preparation for the story we did, there are members of Congress who are saying, food insecurity is bad. We need to pass the EATS Act. That's a crock. That's a cover story. I mean, this is scamming. This is scamming.
No, if they wanted to take care of food insecurity, they would take all of that soy and corn that they're giving to the animals, and they would give it to humans instead. Cut out the middleman, so to speak.
It takes 8 to 25 pounds of grain to make 1 pound of steak. You don't have to be a math wizard to realize that if people are starving, if we eliminated, it's the solution to most of our problems. Going plant-based.
Well, water too. I think, and others have said this too, that in the not so distant future, we're going to have wars over water, because water is becoming such a scarce commodity in our world. And as well as I do, how much water is wasted on factory farming. It's insane how much water they use.
Of course. You know that California is the largest dairy state in the nation. It eclipsed Wisconsin years ago. People don't realize that. So on the local news, they're always talking about the drought in California, and they talk about the almond farms. They never mention the cows. This is, again, how we're getting this distorted coverage. Obviously, the estimated 2 million cows in California are producing huge amounts of manure that is polluting our water. They are drinking huge amounts of water. So right there, this is simple math. You don't have to be, you don't have to know about algorithms to understand that millions of cows are consuming a lot of water. Okay. And they're polluting a lot of water with their manure. You have
plus all the water they use for their feed to grow the crops, to just feed to the animals. And then you've got all the water that they have to use to clean the areas, because of course they're, urinating and defecating all over the place. So it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's so frustrating. But ultimately the truth will come out, or we will. I mean, seriously, I was watching an IPCC reviewer being interviewed by the co-founder of Extinction Rebellion. Now, an Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change reviewer. This is not a vegan activist, people. This is a scientist who does reviews of environmental issues for the United Nations. Okay. And he said, look, that the most important thing we could do is go plant-based. Okay. Because, when the temperature hits a certain point, there's no going back. Okay. What he mentioned was, when the temperature hits a certain point, we will have problems growing crops. Crops can only grow in a certain temperature level. And when it exceeds that, you're going to have massive crop failures. And this is the IPCC reviewer. He said, how is that going to manifest? You're going to go into your supermarket. You're going to see empty shelves.
Yeah.
I immediately ordered a whole bunch.
Good luck getting a burger then.
Yeah, I ordered some popcorn kernels. Like, I have them stacked there. I said, okay, I could have popcorn if I had to for the 2 years. But the point is that we're getting to the point where we're hitting the point of no return. Sir David Attenborough, again, not a vegan radical activist, has a great documentary called Breaking Boundaries. It's on, I believe, Netflix or one of those. You can see it. Just Google Breaking Boundaries. Once you break a boundary, the definition of that is there's no going back.
Yeah.
And one of the boundaries is wildlife. As I mentioned, we've destroyed 2/3 of all wildlife. And the point that people miss is that there is a natural scale of animals, and the insects and the bees rely on certain animals. There's an order to nature.
Yes. All part of that same ecosystem.
3 out of 4 bites of our food connects in some way, shape, or form to insect pollination. Okay. But when you destroy the wildlife, you destroy the habitat, and then the bees drop off and the insects drop off, then you add the rising temperatures, okay, and the drought, you're going to hit a point where you're going to have massive crop failure.
Right.
Already people are dying. Okay, we've covered the healthcare crisis. 1 out of every 4 people dying of heart disease primarily from cholesterol from animal products. There's no cholesterol in any vegan product. Please challenge me, people. Go up and down the supermarket aisles and look at every vegan product. No cholesterol, because animals produce cholesterol. Plants don't produce cholesterol.
Right.
So then you have that. Then you have cancer, processed meat, officially cancer causing, red meat, likely carcinogen. Then you have the climate crisis. You have human world hunger. So you have all of these problems that stem from our consumption of animal products. And the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. And let me say this too, even for people who may be watching that say, oh, I don't care, about animal abuse. I don't care about climate change. I don't really believe in that. I don't care about health issues. I'm healthy, I'm fine. I mean, that's debatable because I believe that people are always, you may have a disease, you just don't know it yet. You just don't have symptoms yet. But think about our security, our national security. When you have food insecurity, water insecurity, how safe do you think our borders are going to be? People don't like people coming in. They don't like people migrating from other countries into America. What's going to happen when there's no food for them? There's no water for them. I mean, we're already seeing it.
That's a really good point. The immigration crisis is largely an environmental crisis, which is largely a result of the meat and dairy industry, the animal agriculture industry. In fact, the New York Times did an article, one article on this, and then never revisited it. They sent somebody, or one of the opinion writers went down to the Northern Triangle in South America, and they found that it's not temperate anymore. These are people who for generations would grow their own food and live on their land. And they can't do it anymore because the temperatures, the climate is not temperate. It goes from extreme winds to extreme rain, and they can't grow the crops there. Okay. So what do? They move to the cities.
Yeah.
Okay. Desertification is occurring as a result of our toxic food system. Yeah. And so what you're getting is just a taste. It's going to be a global situation because unfortunately, really warm climates are going to experience the rising temperatures to the point where it's going to be intolerable. They're going to have to move.
Yeah.
So so we've got the healthcare crisis. We've got the climate crisis. We've got the immigration crisis. Do you see how it's all getting
solved with one simple switch? Yeah.
And again, don't say you're going to do it for the rest of your life. Plant-based just for today.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you. I totally get it. But yeah, like I said, it's all connected, and there's different parts of it that are going to hit different people different ways. I find that men, for the most part, they're not as moved by the animal cruelty side of it, but they have to care. I mean, especially my audience, I believe that they really do care about climate change. They believe that it's real, they believe in science. And I believe a lot of them probably have health issues. I did a segment recently about animal consumption. There was actually a study done on men, and they found, which is just one of the many that have been done, but more recently a study came out about men who consumed a plant-based diet had fewer issues with erectile dysfunction. They had better erections. They felt better. They were better performers, let's say. They could perform longer. So, people care about that kind of stuff.
Erectile dysfunction is a precursor of heart disease because here's the thing that people, I think, and I didn't realize this till a doctor explained this. It's systemic. When the vessels in your body are getting clogged with plaque, we all talk about heart attacks and the plaque in the heart, but it's every vessel is getting clogged with plaque. It's not just one vessel. The arteries to the heart are bigger than the vessels in the penis. So erectile dysfunction is a precursor. If that starts being a problem,
Yeah, it's an
That
early
means
warning
your
sign.
vessels are getting clogged.
Yeah, that's like the check engine light on your dashboard is how men should look at that. They, you don't just go, oh, well, I'm just going to take a blue pill and ignore it. I'm just going to put some duct tape over that
And
check engine light in my car and keep driving.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're making money off of your erectile dysfunction. Think about it that way. Don't be, you're getting scammed. You're getting scammed. You think you're standing up for something but no, you're being exploited. You just got to have that moment of clarity. Oh yeah. It's just like, I get back to the alcohol. Okay. What they always say is take that drink to the end. Okay, you can glamorize the drink. Oh, I'm sitting at a bar having a martini. Everything's fun. No, take it to the end where you're too blurry-eyed to get in a car and drive safely.
Yeah.
Where you said something that you regret or you don't remember what you said. Take it to the end. Well, with meat consumption and dairy consumption, take it to the end. Take it to the heart attack and the ambulance coming and taking you away, or take it to erectile dysfunction, or dementia has skyrocketed in absolute parallel formation to the rise of fast food, which is primarily a meat and dairy based food system. Right. And what is happening there? Vessels getting clogged. There are people who are our age, Gina, who are getting dementia.
Yeah.
Because their vessels are getting clogged.
Yeah. I mean, I remember saying to someone, I don't remember when my parents were in their 30s or 40s, I don't remember their friends having heart attacks and diabetes and cancer to the degree that I had friends being diagnosed with all kinds of cancers, having massive heart attacks and dropping dead, diabetes, just so common. We definitely have to look at what has changed and why that is. 'Cause it's not just, oh, well, genetics. No, no. I mean, they've done studies on twins, a complete, like divergent of everything, of their epigenetics, of everything. They've got one twin on a plant-based diet. They've got one twin on a meat-based diet, and it's night and day. Cholesterol levels, everything, night and day. So it is not a matter of DNA. It's not a matter of genetics.
And by the way, it always is worth mentioning that it's about a whole food plant-based diet. Technically, I guess you could eat Oreo cookies all day and call yourself
right. They are vegan.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about incorporating fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains into your diet. And it's actually fun. And there's so much diversity and there's so much color. When you're cooking in the kitchen, it's more fun.
Yeah.
It's more fun. There's so much you could do with all these vegetables and fruits and nuts and grains. My gosh, cauliflower wings, when you bread them and then you put the spices on, and I happen to use an air fryer a lot. Delicious.
Yeah.
And the energy level, people are always accusing me of having too much energy. I mean, that's the biggest criticism I have. Can you calm down? And then, I was on television for 40 years as a local news reporter and syndicated TV and national cable TV, CNN headline news. I had my own show, and people come up to me and they go, I watched you when I was a little kid growing up. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I'm not saying, I mean, that sounds, but no, I'm telling you, you will take years off of your life. Take years off. If somebody said to you, hey, I've got this thing, right? You could live longer. You can have a better sex life. You can have more energy. You can look younger. You can feel good about yourself because you won't be hurting the environment and you won't be hurting anybody. You want to try it? You go, oh yeah, hey, Oh, and you'll save money too.
Yeah.
People like to say it's more expensive.
Yeah,
I've gone on trips with people who are meat eaters. We go into a grocery store and they're ordering steak and I get some fruits and vegetables and my bill is a lot lower. This is another falsehood. Oh, this is an elitist thing that, come on.
No.
Guess what?
Not if you're eating Whole Foods.
Our grandparents and our great grandparents were much more vegan, okay, than we want to give them credit for.
Yeah.
They didn't have fast food, okay, and they didn't have the McDonald's, and so if you look at the old plates, they would have all sorts of meat. Was a treat. Yeah, it was a dressing. It was a garnish.
Yeah,
and so we've really been sold a bill of goods, and there's a tiny percentage of people who are profiting from it, the 0.1%. And guess what? They don't eat that way. They have their private chefs and they're eating all healthy. Okay.
Yeah. And even if they do, they have the money to solve whatever health issue. They're not like the millions of people in America who don't have health insurance or who are underinsured. So that if they have to go, if they have something going on with them, they can't even afford the copays and the deductibles and everything else. So they just don't go, but yeah, you're right. It is. It's that 0.1%. They're taking advantage of, they're pulling everybody's strings like marionettes. And yeah, they basically, it's like they're creating their own customers. It's almost as if big ag is working with big pharma hand in hand, like, hey, we'll get them sick so that you can then have them to give them more medication and then, keep them kind of in a fog so that they'll want something to make them happy and they'll turn to more meat, more dairy to forget about their health problems and all of their, financial worries. Yeah.
In fact, they're encouraging people to identify with their illness as if it's a badge. I have XYZ. I have that. Ask your doctor for this, that, and the other.
I know.
Have you seen these commercials?
Oh, yeah. Which aren't even allowed in other countries.
We live in an upside down world. We're not supposed to go to our doctors like they're drug pushers and say, give me this pill with this color on it. I think I want this. No, doctors are supposed to look at you and diagnose you and say, this is what you need to do. But we put that on its head. Yeah. I can't even, when I because I was in the news business for years, I do watch the news at night, cable news, like Rachel Maddow or whatever. Not that I agree with it all, but I do watch it, stay informed. And the commercials, I have to mute them because and I would say 3/4 of them are pharmaceutical commercials. And the side effects are like, okay, I got to mute that.
I know. Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's truly disgusting. And I always joke to myself, is everybody in America like horrifically ill with these bizarre, and then they take pills that have these horrific side effects?
Oh, I know. Yeah. You want to get rid of your diarrhea? Take this pill that might cause cancer. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's a crazy
What are you talking
system.
about?
Follow the money. Don't be a sucker. Okay. They're exploiting you people. There is another way and it's not a radical way.
Yeah. I was part of that system. I was horribly sick for decades. Just had so many different health problems, went to all kinds of doctors. Nobody could help me. Within 3 months, everything gone. Allergies, asthma, cystic acne, just being exhausted every day. I mean, all kinds of issues. Yeah.
And you look good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was night and day. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. We've made it very easy. The vegan cheeses are, people, one of the things that they say, oh, I could do it, but I can't give up cheese. A neighbor just said that to me the other day. Miyoko's, guess what? Miyoko's cheese is delicious. So is Daya, so is Violife, so is Follow Your Heart. The list goes on and on. Chow. Yeah. There's a lot of vegan cheeses. Yeah. And they're right there in your supermarket now. All you have to do is look them up. But, cheese is addictive. There's a great book called The Cheese Trap. nature puts something that is a little morphine-like into milk to get the baby calves to drink their mother's milk.
Right.
Well, cheese condenses that, so it's got an extra bout of that because it's a concentrated dairy product.
Right.
And so it's addictive. Cheese is officially addictive. And there's a great book called The Cheese Trap that explains that.
Yeah.
Again, there's something called withdrawal. Okay. So if you give something up, even when I had a moment of clarity and 26 years ago, I stopped drinking and I haven't had a drink, knock on wood, one day at a time. That's not wood, but here we go. For 26 years. But those first 30 days, you have to. That's why people go. I didn't go to rehab, but that's why people do it, because your body is withdrawing from that.
Right.
Okay. So it is going to take, if you are addicted to cheese, it's going to take 30 days. But the good news is you can go to the supermarket and get vegan cheeses that may not have that morphine-like quality, but they have the taste. And then I promise you, in 30 days, if somebody accidentally puts cheese in your food, you're going to spit it out, because your taste buds will have reverted back to their natural state. Right. So I think we've given a pretty good pitch for going plant-based.
Yeah. I mean, now people just need to go download your app, avail themselves of all of the incredible information there. Like you said, there's cooking shows. So people are going, well, that sounds great. I want to do it, but I don't know what to make. Go to Jane's app, download UnChained TV. They'll tell you exactly what to do. I don't know if you have my segment on there, but I did a lunch break live with you a while back. I made my chili, which everybody says is like the best chili they've ever had, vegan or not vegan. So yeah, everybody's got to go download it.
And we're going to put your content up, Gina. Yeah. And we're very excited to have a partnership with you and put some of your incredible conferences and your product reviews up on UnChained TV. Absolutely. So that's what I say. Download UnChained TV. You can do it right on your phone, which right there, right on your phone. Oh, can you see it? There we go.
It's coming out. But yeah, if you just go, anybody who's watching, go to your app. The app to get apps.
Go to your app store.
Yeah, go to your app store and just look it up. UnChained TV, super easy to download. It's just, one click. And then, like I said, I'll leave also a link in the description box for that petition, which is also super easy. I did it with, I think it was just one click too.
One click.
Yeah, it just populated all of my information. I must have signed stuff, through that system before. So it just pulled in all of my information, and yeah, super easy to tell your senators, tell your House members that you do not want this ridiculous bill that's going to allow animals to be abused and confined. And, I mean, they're already going to be murdered and in a horrific way, in a painful way. So, let them at least have a little bit of a decent life before that.
Well, it's not even going to give them
not that it's decent, but at least it won't be painful.
The most horrific torture devices, like the pig gestation crates and the veal crates. There's nothing remotely nice about anything that happens to any animal you eat. Okay. It's all morally reprehensible. And, so many people, in my neighborhood, everybody has a dog and they all consider themselves animal lovers.
Yeah.
And that's the dichotomy too. If you did to a dog what they do to 80 billion animals, you'd be arrested and put in jail. It would be considered animal abuse. But the farmed animals are exempt from anti-cruelty laws. That's why they're so scared of Prop 12. That's why they started this phony EATS Act. That's why you have to take this moment to click on there and tell your members of Congress, do not fall for the EATS Act. It is a monster. It is a scam. No to the EATS Act.
And, one of the things that got me to go vegan, that made me take that final step, because I was already kind of playing around with it, but I like really hit home, was finding out about and taking action in the dog meat trade. And then realizing, oh my God, it's like the light bulb went on. I'm a complete hypocrite because, and here's the thing, I've never to this day, I will ask people, well, what's the difference between a dog and a cow? And the only answer they can give me is, oh, well, the cow tastes good. And I'm like, really? Because in China and Laos and Thailand and all these other Southeast Asian countries, they think the dog meat is a delicacy. They think it tastes amazing. They pay more for that than they do for beef, than they do for a cow. And people have no answer to that. Because, yeah, there is no difference. Tell me the difference between your parakeet that you keep as a pet or the chicken that you have on your plate at dinner. They're both birds. Who decided that one's food and one is a pet? When you get that, when you understand that there is no difference, then you couldn't eat an animal any more than you could eat your own dog or your own cat. So it's that simple.
Well said, Gina. And you're a great example of how wonderful this lifestyle is. Yeah. When I was I keep coming back to the alcohol issue because it really is such a parallel. When I was in my disease of alcoholism, I would have parties, and if people came over and they didn't drink, I would kind of look at them funny. Like, what's wrong with it? Now, why? Because on some level, I knew that they were doing the right thing, and I was jealous and felt judged by them. So I would kind of look at them with but one of my big steps toward getting sober was I had a New Year's Eve party, and this woman came over who was my rollerblading teacher. And she was wearing this fabulous outfit, and she had this sparkle stuff that she was throwing around at people, and she was dancing, and she was like the life of the party. And everybody was like, wow, who is this? She's so fun. And I went up to her and I was like, we should go out partying sometime. You're a lot of fun. She goes, I'm sober. I don't drink. And that was a moment of clarity for me, because it was like, wow, the person having the most fun at the party, the most popular person, doesn't drink. She doesn't need the alcohol to have a good time.
Yeah.
And it was the first time it kind of went into my head, like, you can have fun without alcohol. And it's the same thing when you see people who are having a fabulous life and eating delicious food, and they're not eating animals. That little thing, boom. Oh, wow. You can enjoy food. You can go out. You can without. Now, some people might say, well, why aren't you having that steak? Well, I don't want to. Just like she said, I don't drink.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anyone who doubts it, because people look at me and they go, oh, you're so tiny. How much do you really eat? No. My family called me a food whore. That was my nickname, the food whore, because I would do anything for good food. That's how much I love food. I grew up in an Italian family where food was everything. You don't do anything without food. It's like, my brother used to call me the spider, because he said when I was eating, it just looked like I was like devouring my food and like I'm so into it.
There are a lot of people who talk about Italian families. Tara Punzone, okay, she runs Pura Vita, and she's one of my favorite people. We had her on New Day, New Chef, and she grew up in an Italian family where food was everything, and she went vegan at a young age. And then she said, I cherish my family. I cherish the traditions. I'm going to veganize everything.
That's what I did.
She started experimenting, and she veganized the cheese, the ricotta, and she veganized everything. And then at first she would sit down and she would have her own thing. And then people would go, let me try that. She said by the end of it, they were all eating the vegan ricotta. And she has one of the most successful Italian vegan restaurants anywhere. Wow. It's called Pura Vita in West Hollywood, and more toward where you are. You haven't been there?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I have to go.
Oh, the food is beyond comprehension, like extraordinary. Really? It's literally like my favorite restaurant.
Oh, wow. We should all go.
And the same for Mexican food. There's vegan Mexican, there's vegan Cuban, there's vegan my gosh, little Ethiopia is here in the Fairfax district. They have an incredible vegan restaurant because Ethiopian food is very vegan.
Mhm.
And so really, when you go back to people's heritage, a lot of people say, I could never go plant-based or vegan because and then they, whatever their heritage. Now,
Yeah.
I'm Puerto Rican and Irish, okay?
Mhm.
And if you look at the Irish side, okay, yeah, there's corned beef, but there's also cabbage, there's also potatoes, there's also, you could have great plant-based food that
Mhm.
would be Irish. You just veganize it.
Yeah.
Okay. Puerto Rican food, think about it. Plátanos, rice, black beans, yuca, which is like a tropical potato, which is very high in protein, and then all the fruits, the natural fruits. So we urge people to go back to your actual heritage.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't go to this. My tradition is fast food. Fast food is a blink in an eye in the span of geologic time, right? In the span of time, it's a blink of an eye. No, but fast food is an abomination at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It really is.
Except for Impossible Burgers.
Well, what I'm saying is, look, yes, they took all of these things and they changed them. They're just boxes. So they could redo them to make, it's conceivable that every fast food restaurant could become a vegan restaurant. There are fast food vegan. Monty's Good Burger here in Culver City and I believe in Hollywood is a vegan fast food joint, burger, shakes, fries. I go there maybe once every 2 months because it's fattening. It's a treat. It's not something that's meant
there's
to
the
be
Good
eaten.
Guys. They have a whole chain.
Yes, the Good Guys
and stuff.
I've been there. But the point is that those things are created also because people say, well, I could never give up. And then they mention it. So we're saying, okay, here, we're going to do it. You won't even tell the difference.
Yeah.
If you go to Monty's Good Burger or you go to the Good Guys, I promise you, if you were blindfolded, you'd say this is meat, dairy, and ice cream.
No, the first time I had an Impossible Burger was at Ruby's Diner. And I was so excited to try it because I'd heard so much about it. I thought it was meat. I was getting angry. When the waitress brought it over, I look at it and I show it to my husband. I'm like, she gave me a beef burger. Do you see this? He's like, yeah, that looks like beef. I called her over. I'm like, are you sure this is not beef? And she's like, no, that's not beef. I'm like, all right, because I haven't eaten beef in like 10 years. I will get sick. I'm telling you, I'll probably vomit. Okay. Because you know what it does to your body. If you haven't had something, it's like putting in any toxin.
It's very much like meat to the point where it smells like meat. And I had the same experience where I was at a restaurant and I ordered the Impossible Burger because I was with somebody. It wasn't a vegan restaurant. And I was like, are you sure this is the Impossible Burger? Because it looks like meat.
Yeah.
It tastes.
And then when I took a bite, I was like, this is beef.
Yeah.
There's no way. There
are YouTube videos that show they put a Impossible Burger
camera,
and they put a meat burger and they can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
If you can't even tell the difference, why are we destroying the planet, causing human world hunger?
Just like the Beyond Meat sausage.
Yeah.
I grew up in my parents' deli. I helped them make sausage. We made homemade sausage at our deli. I know what a pig's intestine feels like. I had to clean them out. I know what they're supposed to taste like. I'm telling you, the Beyond Meat sausage is unbelievable. The spicy Italian, not the bratwurst. Don't really care for that, but the spicy Italian sausage is unbelievable. It could fool anybody. Yeah, there's, like you said, there's just no reason anymore.
Well, people like to be part of the crowd. They don't want to stand out. But the point is that I'll get back to that alcohol metaphor or analogy. When I first got sober, I thought, oh, I'm going to go to a party and people are going to know that I'm not drinking and that I'm just having a soda or just having, something. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They're thinking about themselves. Do they really care what's in your glass?
No. Yeah.
No, it was all Everything was in here. It was all in here.
Yeah.
Nobody cares whether you're drinking or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so much more acceptable now to go plant-based. I mean, yeah, like you said, 25 years ago when you did it, it was, you were like, oh, the crunchy granola gal probably. But now it's like, oh yeah. Yeah, my friend is vegan and my aunt is, plant-based, and everybody knows somebody now. So yeah, it's
Exactly.
inevitable.
Well, it's a race against time, though. That's why I urge
Yeah.
everybody to just really open your mind and your heart to this and start transitioning. It really boils down to when you're at the supermarket, just hit the pause button. Look for either the vegan section or look for the vegan items.
Mhm.
You can get vegan ice cream. Unfortunately, I know that to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Achilles heel.
Oh yeah.
You can get vegan yogurt. You can get delicious vegan cheeses. You can get vegan meats, you can get vegan chicken, the Gardein nuggets, the Impossible nuggets, chicken nuggets are coming out. So try them. And then some people, well, I tried this and I didn't like it. First of all, let me say about the vegan cheeses, they've gotten exponentially better in the last, literally year. They've gotten exponentially better. They've crossed into a new territory. So also, did every piece of meat you ever tasted taste good? Right. Did every piece of dairy? Did you never taste anything you didn't like? You got to find the brands and the kinds you like.
I'm going to put out a best of at the end of this year. I'm going to do a whole video montage of all my top picks: best burger, best sausage, best cheese, best everything. So yeah. And again, I'm the food whore. So don't let the looks fool you. I know what I'm talking about. I know what tastes good.
I know I have an addictive personality. If it's bad for me, I like it. So I understand the urges. Yeah. I, like many people who are in recovery from alcohol, because alcohol metabolizes into sugar, I have sugar cravings. I haven't given it up 100% in the sense that I don't want to be that person who could, there are these people who don't eat. Oh, I don't do this. 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 I just feel like I will have it as a treat. Okay. But the point is, I relate. I understand that it's not like that easy. But what we're saying is the payoffs are so huge. Give it a shot because there's no sacrifice. The vegan desserts, for example, are just off the charts delicious. Off the charts delicious. There's a place up in Santa Monica called Erin McKenna's that makes desserts that it's a good thing I don't live right near there. That's all I can say. Okay, because if I'm within like a mile radius, I find myself there. Okay, the desserts are spectacular.
Yeah.
So
people love my desserts, and they can't believe that they're vegan. I mean, my chocolate cake, it's so fudgy. It's so amazing. I make a cherry cream cheese pie that it just blows people's minds. Made carrot cake for Thanksgiving. People say it's the best carrot cake they've ever had. And so these are all my mom's recipes that I literally just veganized. These are all my favorites growing up, and they taste exactly the same, but I don't end up with a stomachache afterward.
And you don't increase your cholesterol. Like eggs are cholesterol bombs.
Right.
So just use the flaxseed or the applesauce or any of the other alternatives. There's no difference in the taste.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. My favorite is the garbanzo bean juice. That's like, that makes the best egg replacement.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Agua fava, right?
Yes.
Agua fava.
Yeah.
We have that. We do have a whole recipe on New Day, New Chef on UnChained TV.
Oh, perfect.
What the heck is that? We have a whole new drag racing. We have a great recipe on UnChained TV where they use agua fava to make a dessert. And
perfect.
It whips up into can
make a meringue.
Yeah, meringue. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody watching, if you want to replace eggs, it's what is it? 1 tablespoon for an egg white, I think it is, 2 tablespoons to replace an egg yolk, and 3 tablespoons to replace an entire egg in a recipe. And it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
All you do is take the garbanzo beans and you drain that liquid from the can. And that's it. And then you eat the garbanzo beans. You can turn that into a vegan egg salad sandwich or hummus.
Yeah.
I like to just put a lot of raw onions, garlic, a little vegan mayo, smush it up. And that's almost like if you throw relish and a little turmeric to give it a yellow color, it's like an egg salad sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. What I do is when I make hummus, I pour the garbanzo bean juice into little mason jars. I have these little 4-ounce mason jars, and I just put them in the freezer. And then if I know I'm going to make a vegan dessert, I just take them out, let them defrost, and I've got it on hand for whenever I need it. So very easy. You don't have to sacrifice anything. So, well, thank you so much, Jane. I know you're incredibly busy. I always appreciate your time when you can come on and share great stuff like this with my audience. And I'm super excited about our partnership and your new streaming service. I think it's going to help so many people. So, especially all the younger people who aren't on Facebook anymore. We're done with that.
Exactly. They're done with that. Absolutely. Thank you, Gina, for all you do. You're my hero. I'm so excited that we're going to be able to stream your incredible work. And come on, guys, we have fun. We're a happy bunch.
Yeah.
We are a happy bunch.
Yeah. And I didn't know you did karaoke, so we got to go do that together.
Well, you may be crossing a line then into something very, very dangerous.
I don't know. I love karaoke.
All right, let's do it. We'll go to Pura Vida.
I even went and tried out for an X Factor once. Yeah,
oh my God.
I made it to the second round, but then my nerves got the best of me. So,
yeah. Well, let's meet at Pura Vida for lunch or dinner. That'd be great.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you again, Jane. You take care, and everybody watching. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Plant-based just for today.